Perfect.
And action.
Oh. Wait, hold on. Wait a minute. And action. Fuck my eyes. Allergy eyes. Okay, now off to the next topic, Rudy. This is something that should scare the shit out of everyone. And the topic I'm talking about, can you guess what it is?
Well, I can guess what it is because I know what it is, but yeah. It was pretty scary.
You're clairvoyant or something.
What's scary to me is that I guess that there's not really an answer. You know what I mean? And that's the scary thing to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Central bank digital currency, or CBDC, people, is trying to digitize, electronicize our money. No cash. And there are some pros and cons to this whole thing. And they're going to try to sell the pros on how wonderful.
How convenient.
Yeah. Oh, it's convenient. It's easy. I don't have to carry cash on me. I can just use my phone or the implant.
Yeah, or you could just get the chip,
pay for everything that
and
way,
your wrist, and then then that's all you have to do is just walk by it. Just be in the vicinity.
Because doing this is really hard. Mm-hmm. So it's easier just to do that onto the machine and basically be a fembot at that point. Okay, here's some things that I'm going to mention before we kind of get into the 3 types of CBDCs and the 10 advantages and 10 disadvantages of CBDC. But I think
I have a list of pros and cons, do you?
We do. Do, oddly enough. And then we also have some people talking about it, so it's not just us. All right. So they're going to try to sell us on the fact that we've got a convenient way of paying for stuff,
goods and services.
Yeah. So as we go through here, I'm just going to talk about this. Like, there's 3 types. There's the retail CBDC, and that's basically your traditional cash payment method, but it's not cash; it's electronic, like your Apple Pays, your Starbucks stars, and how you pay for your coffee through Starbucks or whatever. Then they have the wholesale, which I didn't even know there really were 2 or 3 kinds until I started reading this article. Wholesale CBDCs are designed to be used for interbank settlements and transactions by financial organizations, including banks and payment processors. They can improve efficiency in the financial system. Of course they can. And reduce the risk of settlement failures. Kind of like what crypto is supposed to do, which that uses the blockchain decentralized platform, where there's basically accounting across so many different servers, and it's very difficult to hack, apparently. I'm sure everything can be at some point. But it just is a checks and balances. The problem with CBDC, the central bank, is you're relying on a single source, a single funnel to do everything, which controls everything. I don't like one thing controlling everything I'm doing or everything I'm able to do. I don't know. How do you feel about that? You like government, like knowing what you're doing every day?
I fucking hate that, man. I'm definitely opposed to this whole thing.
Yeah.
I already think that they have too much insight on what we do. You know what I mean?
Well, we already have the big data centers everywhere that know what we're saying, doing, emailing, talking on the phone, what we're saying, and an ad pops up that happens to be what we just happen to be talking about. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, and I think it's just kind of one of those things where you are freely giving up your control.
Yeah. Convenience, maybe?
And your privacy for convenience.
Right.
And this whole fucking world and all of our systems they seem to be trying to make everything a little bit more convenient for us, a little bit more convenient, but you got to look at the big picture. What is that convenience costing you? It's costing your privacy. It's costing your freedom. And to be quite honest with you, who's to say they just can't take it whenever they want it?
Well,
And where is that?
right.
Where's that checks and balance system come up?
Hmm.
How do I know that my digital currency is secure
Right.
with me?
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And what do taxes look like after that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. If
You
you
know?
don't if you don't get your taxes paid or paid on time, and the government, when we all know that's who it is, it's going to be the ones in control of this. It's not going to be Chase Manhattan
Oh
Bank
fuck no.
or Wells Fargo. They're going to know. So, oh, you haven't paid your taxes, therefore we're just going to take it out of your account. Well, maybe you were trying to wait till your next paycheck came in so you can send off a payment, or something happened, or something came up, an emergency or something like that. Well, all of a sudden now you can't pay for something else because the government thinks that they're going to just take their share, steal their share of your income from you first.
Uh-huh. Well, one of those things too is that I thought about when I was reading through this was what happens when the new scamdemic comes out
Yeah.
and
Oh
they
yeah.
want a contribution from each and every American.
Yeah.
You think the central bank's not going to just start taking that out of your account?
Yeah.
Because that's the whole thing is your accounts now are going to have to at least ping them
Right.
or whoever's controlling it before it goes to your local financial institution.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Right.
it's gonna pass them before it goes to your financial institution of your
Mhm.
choice. If it even gets that far, they might not even fucking let it get that far.
Yeah.
And so they're gonna see it, they're gonna know it's there, and they're gonna have access to it.
Hmm.
And that fucking scares me because,
Yeah.
talking, with the shit hits the fan scenarios, what happens then? You
Right.
know what I mean? Then I have nothing of value to me
Yeah.
to trade, you know, for food, trade for
Right.
weapons, trade for medical supplies. What I have nothing of
Yeah.
value.
Medications and all that shit
Medication,
on top of it. Yeah.
yes. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Because it's all going to be scarce and it's all going to be hoarded. So, in that situation, it's going to basically be borrow and trade. You know what I
Right.
mean? And if you have nothing of paper value, you have nothing of uh, monetary value. You're going to have to take your things, I guess,
Mhm.
and see what you can get for them.
Well,
And in
yeah.
your currency is gone. You know?
Right. Well, it's what I call the offline world
Yeah.
because uh, terrorists, for example, don't need to fly planes into buildings anymore. All they need to do is shut off the power grid. Have you ever had the power go out at your house and you don't know how long it's going to be out? You can't watch TV, you can't cook on your stove, you can't do laundry, you can't have the lights on, you can't have your air conditioning on, you can't have your heater on, you can't have, all of this shit runs electronically.
Hmm.
Okay. And imagine not having access to your money electronically through your bank, through your phone, through your wireless, through your app on your phone for your bank.
Hmm.
Imagine that the power grid going down. Okay, you're sunk. If you don't have any cash on hand, you can't do anything. What are you going to do? How
Yeah.
long is this power grid going to be out? What if there were some EMPs that were placed and took out the grids in certain areas? Everybody affected in that area can't eat, can't go buy food, can't do anything. Nothing.
Hmm.
You can't get gas. Gas stations, the pumps run on what is it? Oh, that's right, electricity. And it's like people, you need to understand. Stop this push for convenience.
Yeah.
Stop this push for ease of use. Oh, it's
Well,
easier to track. I mean, yeah, and it's going to be easier to track everything
and the
by people you don't want to track it.
stop the push toward everything being digital.
Yeah.
Why does everything need to be digital?
Well,
I
because somebody wants to be able to control it, know what's going on,
Oh, well,
right?
yeah, that's yes. But
Yeah.
as speaking to this newer, younger generation that
Don't understand that.
is used to everything just kind of being handed to them the at the touch of a button. on
Yeah.
their phone,
Yep.
um, they've never lived with these conveniences for extended period of time. I remember when I was young, we'd our power would go out from time to time in the summertime,
Hmm.
um, and we'd be out for the better part of a day,
Yeah.
but it didn't matter because
Right.
we were outside.
Yeah.
We had the hose, we had sandwich stuff, we had all that kind of stuff, and it was good, and it was a little like, dang, I mean, it's going on 3 hours now, it's going on 4 hours now,
Yeah. Who
and
knows how
whatever.
long? Yeah.
But eventually it popped back on, you know what I mean? And we had those electric conveniences again, but back then it was like the stove, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The microwave,
Yeah.
TV.
Maybe
We
your
didn't even,
air conditioning or a fan being plugged in.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, we didn't even have cable TV back then,
Yeah.
and we didn't give a fuck about TV because TV was just, it was there, but
Yeah.
it wasn't our main source of entertainment
Right. Right.
or information. But at the same time, it was like, uh, wow,
Yeah.
these kids have never had to live like that for more than 15, 20 minutes, maybe an hour. I think,
Yeah.
what was it? It wasn't last year, but was it last year or was it the year before, the winter before here, where when it was snowy as fuck.
Yeah.
It was like one of the worst winters we've had in
Yeah.
the
Last
last,
year.
yeah, the last couple decades. And and it was bad. And I think our power went out once during that whole season.
Yeah. Which is pretty freaking amazing. Only
It
one.
was pretty amazing, but where I live, everything's underground,
Oh,
so it wasn't as bad as some areas. Um, but at the same time, someone hit a fucking transformer, slid on
mhm.
the ice, hit the transformer, boom,
Yeah.
it's out. You know what I mean? And it's out for an hour or so,
Yeah.
maybe 2 hours, but it wasn't too bad. But, I mean, my daughters were freaking the fuck out. You know what I mean? They
Well,
were
yeah. Like,
they were, and I'm like,
Dad.
don't worry
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
If it
Well,
starts getting real
yeah.
cold, we got a fireplace. We can start a fire.
We
That's
got
not a big
jackets
deal.
and sweaters and everything else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
get under a blanket. Let's play some cards, and let's not worry about it right this second. We got propane. We got barbecue outside if we need to cook food on it. That's fine.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Stuff like that. But it wasn't really that big of a deal. It was, an hour, I think. I think at most.
Yeah.
But they were freaking fuck out.
Yeah.
And to think that, that's an hour.
Right.
What if you took that to a bigger scale and
It
really
was
kind of,
days,
yeah, and that's when you
weeks.
start worrying about your money.
Yeah.
That's when you start worrying about travel. That's when you start worrying about gas. That's when you
Food.
start worrying about your overall fucking safety. This is when you
Mhm.
start worrying about looters,
Yeah.
especially when in the non-snowy months. You know what I mean?
Well, how many other people are going to get so desperate that they're going to do whatever they need to get what you have?
The problem is, though,
You know?
too, is, not to, take this into another windy road, but the fact that people live paycheck to paycheck and
Oh, yeah.
rob Peter to pay Paul between those fucking paychecks
Oh, yeah.
is really shows you that people are teetering
Yeah.
on the edge. So that need for something is going to come really fucking quick, I think.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's
Abs-
my
abs-
opinion, but
Yeah. Well, and I agree. I think there are major ramifications that people don't understand beyond the convenience of having all this shit on your phone or the implant they want to put in here because it's really hard to put that phone down on the little pay terminal and pay for something. Uh, but the scary thing is think about the possibilities. Whenever something is invented or created or whatever, and it's used for good, so make it easier for you to pay for something, make it easier for you to check your bank account, all this stuff. Well, all that convenience and everything also has a downside. Hackers can get in online, they can drain your bank account, or they can get in there and get your information off your phone. That's why you have the RFIDs and things like that. That you need to protect your wallet and your phone and everything else.
Mhm.
But when this stuff is developed, there's always a nefarious side. There's always somebody who thinks, well, what can I do to benefit me being, are you the government? Are you some hacker or hacker group or whatever like that?
Mhm.
Where I can use that against the people, because this convenience is like, I just heard today, the convenience of scanning the little QR code on the table at a restaurant so you can read the menu on your phone instead of printing out actual menus.
Mhm.
Well, I've heard now that, and we should have known this, and it makes perfect sense, that QR code may be giving that restaurant all your information off your phone, or some of your information that you don't want them to have, or whatever. I mean, could that happen? Absolutely. Does it happen? Probably not, but maybe.
Mhm.
Do you know? So you have that. But here's the thing: you've got a digital currency where they're trying to do it like a crypto, but the difference is crypto is decentralized and CBDC is centralized. So one organization, like we mentioned.
Mhm.
Who's developing this? Let's just say is it Bill Gates, because he's got his hands in more things that he deserves to have his hands in, and he really needs to just stop and go away and live the rest of his life on an island somewhere and just shut the fuck up.
Just be
Okay,
done.
just
Yeah.
be done.
Yeah.
Go away. We don't need you to come up with fucking vaccines. We don't need you to come up with all of these solutions. Stop buying up farmland. So anyway. So he's into all this shit. So let's just say Bill Gates and his little band of merry men decide to be the partner for the government to create the government's central bank digital currency to replace the US dollar. So he's still in bed, let's say, and he probably is, with Microsoft, just for example. Now, this can be used for certain things. Maybe companies pay into the development of this and they have special priority. What I mean by this is, we're Apple guys. We're designers. We use Apple computers. We have forever. We don't use Microsoft.
Mhm.
So if we are to use the digital currency that Gates has put together for us, and we want to buy an Apple product, maybe because it's digitally, transactional, and we buy an Apple product, all of a sudden, maybe is there a surcharge maybe that could be put on this
Yeah.
because I'm not buying a Microsoft product? What if Coca-Cola was part of the deal and they put in there and said, well, we want to be part of this. So anybody who buys Coca-Cola products will get a discount by using their central bank digital currency account. So instead of a $8 case of Coke or $10 or whatever the price, I don't care, $20, whatever it is, you use this, you get a discount back of, whatever percentage, 20% back, 10%, whatever. But you buy Pepsi, now you get that surcharge again. Okay, see where I'm going with this?
Mm-hmm.
Now let's think of it another way. What if somebody in their infinite wisdom who thinks they know how to run our lives better than we do decides, hey, Rudy, dude, you've gone to McDonald's 3 times this week. You've gone to the liquor store to buy some alcohol a couple times. You're putting your health at risk. As far as we're concerned, you're
Yeah.
putting your health at risk, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so now you're looking at getting a car loan. You want to buy a new car, but we noticed you go to the liquor store once a week. Well, you could be a potential alcoholic. You could be a potential DUI risk.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what's going to happen with your car insurance? Automatically, just because I'm assuming, I'm just painting this little picture, putting the dots together.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden your car insurance rates are up higher because you do something I don't like. I don't like what you're doing. I'm going to
Well, not
charge
even
you
that.
more.
You're a potential risk.
Exactly.
Potential risk.
Yeah, it doesn't mean
Not
you
that you're
are.
done anything, not that you're guilty of
Right.
drunk driving, not that
Yeah.
you're guilty of DUI, but these patterns that we see
Yeah.
make you a
Right.
potential risk.
Yeah. Isn't that neat?
So,
But
yeah.
it's me. I'm a nebulous person. You don't know who I am, but I am going to make that determination that you, from your pattern of purchasing, you're unhealthy, you're eating a lot of fast food, you're drinking a lot because you're at the liquor store once a week. You name it.
Mm-hmm.
What could have who the fuck am I to tell you how to live your life, and that you're not doing anything wrong? You never had a DUI, you don't drink and drive, You do eat McDonald's because you have girls. Your little girls want to have McDonald's because that's what they, and so you go there.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know whether you ate it or your kids ate it, but
Right.
they're still assuming you ate it, therefore you're unhealthy. You know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah.
the potential for this is unbelievable. Not to mention the taxes. They could take it out immediately. They could figure out what you do. Have you heard about in Europe? And I can't remember if she's from the Netherlands or some, one of these bitches over in Europe is proposing that you can't spend more than 1,000 euros in cash or something like that, and or we will flag your account or flag your account, whatever, however they're doing it. I'm like, wait a minute, who the fuck are you to tell me I can't? What if I have to pay somebody to roof my house and I want to buy a car, used car off of somebody? I want to, yeah, here's $3,000, here's $5,000, whatever currency you're putting it in.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do that. I have to pay in such a way that the government's tracking me. Well, did you now pay taxes on that purchase?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? There are so many nefarious ways this can be used against us. It's none of the damn. What if you buy guns and
It's
ammo?
limitless. Yeah.
Now all of a sudden you are a threat to democracy.
You're on a list.
You're on a list. You know, you can't buy that, even though it's constitutional for you to be able to purchase firearms and ammunition and blah, blah, blah. Now, all of a sudden, this is why they tried to do this with the credit card companies and have the credit card companies rat on people like you and me or whoever else out there that decided they wanted to buy a new firearm or ammunition. Oh, so and so just got this, therefore now we're on a list.
Mm-hmm.
Why does anybody think, why would the government want to have that ability to do that? Do they want to have the ability to track every purchase, and why? What business is it of theirs? Right?
Well, that's when, that's when the freedoms aren't so free.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's when our lovely national state or country becomes a what do you call it? I can't remember what the term is, but it's basically it is not free anymore, and
Yeah.
and you're basically questioned and or
Mhm.
controlled with everything you do. Now the money that you spend, and we're going to make those choices for you because we just don't think that you're making the right choices.
And who's the we? Who are these people to determine what you and I do with our lives and the money we make?
It's the
You know?
people that we trust, that we vote into office as our servants.
Is it them or is it the people that we don't vote into office who are permanently in these positions behind the scenes, knowing president's only there for 48 years?
Yeah.
He doesn't really have control. I mean, it's like Biden. He's not in control. It's the puppet masters behind the scenes that are pulling his strings. They know he's just a shill. He's just a moron. He's just a face of whatever it is that they're trying to push through. But it's the people behind them. I didn't elect them. I didn't. I don't. It's like, really, you have no right to tell me what to do with my life, where I can go and can't go. And
Mhm.
if I don't purchase stuff that you feel is good, right, correct, falls in line, if I disagree with your politics or something like that, now all of a sudden am I flagged and I can't go fly around the world and go visit another country because my carbon footprint is too much now?
Right.
Or I disagree with politics, therefore you're going to flag me and my plane ticket's going to cost me 50% more than somebody else who agrees with. I mean, the potential for what can happen is unreal. And I don't think people understand. I am not willing to sacrifice my freedom and liberty and privacy for convenience, which is how they're selling this shit.
I
You
wonder
know?
what's yeah, I
Fuck.
it's crazy. And
Oh, lost your mic, brother. There you go.
I'm sorry about that. I think the laziness of the generations up and coming and to come are really going to kind of determine where this goes. And
Yeah.
hopefully by that time, I'm a decrepit 80-year-old man with a cane, and I really don't have
Right.
to give a shit anymore. But
Except you do worry about your kids and grandkids and so on and so on.
yeah, but if they're gonna fuck it up, they're fucking it up for themselves. You know what I mean?
I know. And everybody else.
I'm out of here. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of those things where it's like, I know, we can put brain power into it, and we can, question what that is, and I will definitely, like, if it comes down to a vote or a hey, give
Yeah.
us opinion on this or that, I'm definitely going to put my 2 cents in,
Yeah.
and then maybe even take further measures to go a little bit further, whatever
Yeah.
avenues that I can go down to shut that the fuck down.
Right.
I will definitely go to that fucking march on the hill.
Yeah.
But at the same time, um, if it happens, and they take it away from us, what's the next step? Like, if that's where it goes, and they give you 30 days to relinquish all of your cash that you have.
Now you're pissing me off.
Well, that's the
I know.
thing,
That's
you
what
know
I
what I
mean. But
mean?
yeah. Right. Right.
And but that, because then you're going to take all the till cash, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, that
Right.
are in that's in businesses, that's gone.
Mm-hmm.
And then what do you have next? Okay, well, we could do this whole thing by fingerprint. We could put everybody's fingerprint in the data system. But you know what? And we'll be okay with that for a year. But within a year, you are required to get a chip in your wrist, to pay for your essentials. Uh, Dude, that's
Yeah.
why we have the meat company on third. Well, the actual meadery is on 3 acres, I think.
Oh yeah.
Uh, the homestead uh is 30 acres. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Just up the hill from there.
Right.
Um, a couple of people in the family that are preppers. They've got I think it's 6 or 10 acres up north from us, a couple hours. And that's when I just say, fuck this shit, man.
Off grid, man. Yeah.
Let's go off grid
Yeah.
and just write it out. Because if that shit's happening, it's gonna get so much fucking
Yeah.
worse. And then honestly, I think that that's really kind of a telltale to the human
Mhm.
um brought apocalypse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or apocalypse
The
related.
man-made
Yeah,
disasters.
the
Yeah.
man-made apocalypse
Well,
preempt.
well, and that's the thing is that I hope that people wake the fuck up before shit like this happens because once you kind of go down this road, it's hard to get back. It's not impossible, but you need something major to happen. You need some sort of, dare I say, civil type of war, a rise up against the government, a rise up against those in power and control, which is why I always say question authority, question everything. What happened to that? COVID was kind of a test run for this shit. Oh, we don't accept cash because you're touching it with your hands and everything. And I
Mm,
could get COVID. Oh, fuck you. Grow up. Seriously.
so
Like, oh my
ridiculous.
God. We've lived with shit our whole lives. And it's like the kids who played in the sandbox and got dirty and then ate their sandwich afterwards where their hands are still dirty or whatever, never got sick. The ones that mommy and daddy say, oh, come in here and sanitize everything. They're always sick, right?
Yeah.
We have to create an immune system. And this is why the COVID thing pissed me off so much. Is we really created a bunch of pansies, a bunch of soft people who couldn't handle anything. And look at the morons still wearing their fucking masks today. It's like, oh my God, you're an idiot because mass never worked. And I could go into this whole diatribe on that as well, but we'll do that in another segment. But it's like we really need to not allow our government / elected leaders to run our lives. Like, you know what? Just get out of my life. Let me do my thing. We're all taking, everything's fine. I don't need you to tell me how to live my life and that I'm doing something right or wrong. The carbon footprint bullshit is a crock of shit. People need to wake up. The climate's always changing, evolves. It goes in cycles, whether it's decades or thousands of years, but it goes through cycles. Remember in the 70s, oh my God, the ice age is coming back.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
remember that? People forget that.
I'm a big proponent on global warming is a bunch of horseshit. It's
for
not
somebody to make money, and that's the big thing. Follow the money, people. Who stands to make money on this shit?
I agree that there could be less pollution.
Yeah,
I totally agree. Totally agree.
Clean water and clean air just as much as anybody else. Absolutely.
But there's a local company here that just got, I don't know if you saw the news on this. I'm not going to say the name, but they just got a battery powered, a battery powered semi for their business.
Oh God.
They got one semi, and
how's that working out for them so far?
They just got it, and the guy,
no data yet. Okay.
Yeah, no data yet. They just got it like a couple days ago. I saw it on the news, and the guy who bought it for the company that he owns, he was one of the first companies back in the early 2000s to put solar panels all around his business and all around his structures and all this stuff to start running. He wanted to run the business off of the solar power, right? And then obviously he feeds back to the grid. That's a great thing. Very commendable. It'd be
providing the electric company actually does what they do and does feed it back to him and give him a discount on the power he's supplying. But
yeah, it's
if
really
they're losing money, do you think that's going to last very long?
Yeah, right. And then so anyway, he's a big proponent of better Earth, better blah blah blah.
Great,
I get it, yeah, because we all are. But to buy into the global warming and the emissions thing, as much as they push it, is bullshit.
Yeah.
And so you figure, so he's got this electric diesel. It's supposed to be able to run from, because they run in state, you know what I mean, and they run their product back and forth, basically from the point of the mountain up to Logan, but it's back and forth on 15, and they can get through one run up north, one run down, and then have to stop and charge it again for like 3 hours.
Only 3.
They're saving, what was it? I want to say 500 gallons of diesel. It might have been 250 gallons of diesel a week. I can't remember the exact number on that, so don't quote me. But okay, you're saving diesel, great.
How much you're paying your driver to sit there for 3 hours? Also,
but what happens when his driver gets caught in that fucking? I know you know what I'm talking about. That fucking bottleneck from like Paris,
rush hour traffic.
If you're going north, like from Paris to I don't know, 200 in Layton. That fucking to Hill basically.
Yeah.
That's you get caught in that in rush hour.
Oh yeah. You're not going very fast.
You better have a sandwich because you're gonna be there for a minute, bro.
Yeah. Especially with construction going on as well. Oh yeah.
And that's gonna happen all summer long. So I'm interested to see what happens there. But I think that's going a little too far.
Well, let's go back. Excuse me. Let's go back to the product is good. Like a Tesla, once the batteries are running, it's great. But what kind of environmental damage are we doing to mine all of the cobalt, all of the lithium, all of the other rare earth metals used for the batteries? Other things that happen, Teslas and other electric vehicles are probably 1/3 to 2 times as heavy on the road, so they're going through tires faster. They're putting more wear and tear on the roads, the freeways, and all of that. The efficiency to recycle any of those batteries is still in its infancy stages, and so they're not really being recycled as much or at all as they should be.
I heard they can't be, and they can't be destroyed.
I have heard they can be.
Okay.
And I was surprised. And yeah, because I heard that as well. And I'm like, and then I saw this program where there is a company that's doing it, but it's like one company or two. And if they have all these batteries, they're not going to be able to do them all in the time frame, because it's going to be coming up on where all of these batteries from the purchases of these vehicles a year or two ago are going to start to go out. And they need to be replaced. So it means you got to take out, the other thing about these, the inefficiencies of the EVs are the cold weather. First of all, your battery life goes way down in your efficiency, because you got to run the heater in your truck or car to keep that as well. And it's just, you have all of that on top of, the fact that these batteries are not really working very well after a while.
Yeah, they get put through a ringer, especially here.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Exactly. Well, with our weather swings from, what was it, early May?
Yeah.
Early May. We had a fucking snowstorm. It was like the first week in May.
Yeah.
We got like 2 inches, bro.
Well, you
know what I mean?
And then kind of coming full circle with what we're talking about. Now you got these EVs and they're all electric, which means they're all hooked up to the internet. You ask anybody on it with a Tesla, and that's what they're telling you. Well, they're tracked. They know where you're going. They know what you're doing. And if you speed, I've heard the latest now that they want to put an alarm that goes in your car when you go 10 miles over the speed limit. It beeps.
I'll get the fuck out
and
of
all
here.
This shit. Oh yeah. No, it's gonna be fantastic. Any car made after 2027 or 6 or something like that, it's like, oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me. But you can be hacked. Your car could be under someone else's power and control, and they can drive you off into the tree.
What?
Yeah.
It makes sense if it's all computer driven.
So if it's all computer driven, what else is computer driven that we just happen to be talking? Oh, that's right, CBDC. So that can be hacked. If they don't like what you're doing, they can drain your bank account. If they don't like what you're doing, they can shut off your. Look what happened to the truckers in Canada, the Freedom Convoy.
Oh man, that was fucking sad.
Trudeau is an evil piece of shit, and to do that to people, that's all electronic on those transfers and those bank accounts, and he cut them off because he didn't like what they were doing. So this is what CBDC is all about.
Yeah. Well, you get that control, and then really, whoever's the leader, whoever's in fucking charge of that, is basically playing Dr. Evil. You know what I mean? Can really kind of do whatever he wants, whenever he wants. And it really turns into a whole fucking
shit show.
Communist fucking state. It's ridiculous.
Well, I don't know about you, but I don't really want somebody else controlling my life and what I do and where I go. And it's freedom, last I checked, but it's crazy. So let's continue on talking about more of the advantages and disadvantages of this, so people kind of get it. Now that we've kind of talked about it,
let's run down the list.
Get back into it. So the third one is this hybrid. It's kind of a combination of both the retail and wholesale CBDCs, and it can be used for both consumer and interbank settlements, creating more efficient and integrated financial system. For who? For whom? For the bankers, for the government, so they can keep track of everybody a lot easier. It's a lot easier to throw something on a computer than to, look at a whole printed sheet of 4,000 pages worth of stuff.
They might miss something.
My God. All right. So some of the top 10 advantages of CBDC. Yes, there are advantages, but the problem is there's too many ways this stuff can be used for evil. So increased efficiency of transactions could potentially streamline payment systems, yada, yada, yada. Enhanced financial inclusion. What the fuck does that mean?
Financial inclusion. What
CBDCs could
they're
provide
them
greater
them them
access.
being included on my spending? That's all that fucking sounds like.
Well, yeah.
Financial
No. Oh,
inclusion.
all
Fuck
those people
you.
who are too dumb, too stupid, or too poor, I guess. That's not me. That's to get a bank account. This could help them so they don't have to go to the local bank in Africa or something. I
Oh,
mean, this
okay.
is what I've heard.
Or the
Them talk about.
online banks. Yeah.
Yeah, serve for individuals who are currently underserved by traditional banks. That's like the same people who are too stupid to be able to get an ID so they can go vote. But you have to have an ID to, I don't know, do everything else in the world, buy alcohol, get into a club, you know, you name it. I mean, it's just what else do you have to get a shit. So many things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
have to have an ID for a lot of shit. So, better control of monetary policy. Again, for whom?
Yeah.
Not for us. Help the central banks more efficiently manage inflation. Well, you can do that by stop spending money and printing more money, you dipshits. Interest rates and other macroeconomic indicators. Reduce costs for the central bank. Oh, isn't that special? We want to make sure we reduce costs for the central bank who's controlling everything that we do in our lives. Potentially lower cost of printing and circulating physical cash. So what does that mean? You can just create money out of nothing, nowhere, kind of like you do right now when you just print more
Mm-hmm.
and all that. I mean, it's just give me a break. Increase security and privacy for users. What about your ability to get in the back doors of these things in our bank
Yeah.
accounts
The
and
only
things like
fucking
that?
privacy and security that I need is from you.
Right.
You know?
Is having my money in a bank or credit union and the government not having fucking access to my account.
That's the
That's the
security I
privacy that
need.
I like. Yeah.
Mhm.
More private ways to make transactions. This is such a crock of shit. Potential to stimulate economic growth. It can enable faster and more efficient payments, which can turn and promote economic activity and growth. Well, that's what the fucking cryptocurrency and the blockchain technology is supposed to do. I want to put money in my bank. I don't want to wait for 3 days for it to clear. Blockchain could get that instantly in seconds, and then we'd have our money in our account. We can also pay somebody quickly, but it doesn't need to be centralized to a central bank.
Yeah.
Facilitation of cross-border transactions. That's the other thing I was just talking about. Make it cheaper, easier to pay Canada or to pay France for something we're purchasing over there. Reduction. Here it is. This is the point that they're trying to make to us to justify them being able to surveil you and me, watch every transaction we do, allow us to do this, that, and the other. Reduction of illicit activities. This is where it always starts, right?
Mhm.
We
I'm
need to
surprised
curb.
that wasn't first.
Exactly.
But I think it's buried for a reason.
Right. I was buried at number 8, oddly enough. Numero ocho. And it's like, could potentially reduce the prevalence of illegal activities such as money laundering and tax evasion.
Mm-hmm.
By whom?
Well, just by fucking cartels, man.
Johnny come lately, Mr. Everyday Joe. Is that
That's
who
the
you're
thing.
worried about?
If the cartels aren't paying their vig to the government, government ain't gonna let them hang out for very long.
Well,
But
the cartels use cash. And that's
well,
why
that's
they
what
want
I'm
to get rid of
saying.
Yeah.
But the cartels are gonna have to figure out a different way, and they're gonna have to figure out the government's gonna have to figure out a way to keep the cartels in business because the
Oh,
cartels are good business for
well, of course.
the
Well, they
U.S.
created them. They fund them. They
Yeah,
allow them to do their activities. Look at the
exactly.
border right now.
Mm-hmm.
Reduction of illicit activities. Next one, simplification of tax collection. What did we just mention earlier?
Oh,
Simplification for whom?
surprise! That one's on there.
Yeah, they could simplify the process of collecting taxes. Oh, yeah, of course, they'll
By
just
just
take it out of your
taking it
fucking
out of your
account.
account. Yeah, just
Yeah,
take it.
yeah. As all transactions were recorded and easier to track by the IRS, by the U.S. government. Is that what you're talking about? Oh my God. Integration of
By the
other
CIA.
emerging technologies, integration with other emergency technologies. Isn't that awesome?
Emergency?
No, emerging.
Oh, emerging.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, there's
so
always some new technology coming out. They want to be able to just work together with the new technologies.
my question, I got a quick question before you move on to the disadvantages.
Sure.
Is it was going to be, why do you think that they started this? Was it and when did this become prevalent? Do you think they started it because they wanted to act like they were, or throw a smokescreen that they were going to try to defund the cartels? Um, or was it when, what was it? China, France, and somebody else
Mhm.
uh, said, went into that treaty that they were going to devalue the American dollar. What was it? Are they?
Uh, I think that all of these things are excuses to be able to track and monitor
Well,
the
obviously
citizenry
that's
of
the
course.
underlying tone, and I'm sure that
Yeah,
they wanted to do all this thing, but
yeah.
what kind of pushed them to go to this extreme, or kind of let the cat out of the bag
That
right
this is
now?
what they're going to. Well, they sell it with the whole convenience, easier to transact. They make transactions and all this stuff.
So you think that was the initial motivation, just
My thought
plain and
is
simple?
our government really doesn't do a whole lot to make our lives better without there being some sort of other reason behind it.
Like they have to have a vested interest
Yeah, I saw it like
for
we
them to
love
make our lives easier.
so yeah, we love you so much. We're so happy that we can steal money out of your account to pay the taxes to fund the government, which is a bunch of bullshit because all they do is print more money anyway. It doesn't really matter. There's no way taxpayers, even the wealthy, can afford all of the fucking shit that the government spends its money on, though. So they
Yeah.
have to print more money, borrow more money against our future and our children. There really is no reason for them to collect taxes, really, to be honest
I
with you,
love
because they
how,
can just print
when
more money.
politicians go in, their net worth is like 200,000, maybe 250,
Yeah,
maybe they have a couple businesses under their belts,
yeah,
you know
and
what I
then
mean?
10x
And
that
then they're
shit when they go out.
yeah, and then yeah, when they yeah, exactly. And then when they come into or when they come out of office, yeah,
Yeah,
it's 10 million,
it's amazing. It's a
you
Christmas
know,
miracle, really.
15 million.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You really
No,
did a lot while you're in office.
this is just a crock of shit.
It's
These
just
these people.
natural growth of your companies that you had that
So
you had built.
yeah, exactly. So why in the world did they do this? Did they start this? What was their reasoning? It certainly wasn't to help make life easier for all of us. It's like the whole, "Oh, we're trying to save lives during COVID and all that." No, no, it wasn't. It had nothing to do with that because the wealthy got wealthier.
Oh yeah.
The middle class got screwed. They got put out of business because they weren't essential. They don't care about us. That's the thing people need to realize.
They
They
got
don't care about us.
yeah.
This CBDC is a fucking smokescreen to control our lives and what we can and can't do and what they think we deserve to do in the world.
They
Like
got put out of their
yeah,
homes, they got put out of their jobs.
yeah,
It's fucking sad, man.
yeah. People lost all their retirement savings. They
Mhm.
tried to keep people. How many people lost their jobs because those businesses just couldn't afford to stay open
Stay
because
open, yeah.
yeah. I mean,
Not
it's
even with a skeleton crew.
yeah, yeah. So the CBDC is just yet another smokescreen, another way of controlling us and telling us what we can and can't do. That's what I believe climate change is. That's what I believe your whole carbon footprint bullshit is all about. Yet these fuckers in Davos, with the World Economic Forum and the World Health Organization, and there's another thing about that where their little pandemic treaty is getting shot down to shit, which that would have controlled what every country in the world did. They control what we can and can't do, where we can and can't go, because they can basically determine anything being a health emergency, and control us. So Biden was about ready to sign that. Yeah, fuck yeah, you tell us what we can and can't do and how we respond to the next pandemic.
Yeah, fuck
I don't
off.
know if you heard about
Was
all.
that the WHO? Was that the
Yeah, that was
WHO?
the fucking WHO,
Yeah.
World Health Organization. Those
Mhm.
crony crony capitalists, those fuckers who were they're funded by China, they're funded by Bill Gates and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and Gavi, which is also a Bill and Melinda Gates thing, or at least a Bill Gates thing still, and all that. And they're beholden to people who paid them money. George Soros probably is part of that as well. So these people are investing it. So why would they want to have control? Okay, they made us all try to get the vaccine. They made us do lockdown. They made us not travel. They made us do this, that, and the other. And it's just scary that these people who are unelected, unaccountable, who can make a decision for you and me of where and when we can and can't travel, eat, go to work, whatever. Yeah, no, it's a crock of shit. And I think the CBDC fits right in line with all of that shit as well. And it's about control.
I think you're right. And, I think one of the things that bothers me is that our local governments could make that decision. You know what I mean? I say, okay.
It could be stopped if we just had the balls.
Yeah. This is like, okay, so WHO says this. Okay. Maybe we could do this. Maybe we could do that. But I'm not gonna make my citizens stop going to the grocery store.
Right.
I'm not going to make them stop going to get their essentials. I'm not
travel across country to see grandma.
Right.
Or something.
Yeah.
Or your favorite Taylor Swift concert. I want to travel back to New York to see Taylor Swift. I gotta go. Don't keep me from.
It should have been unlocked.
Don't keep me from Swift. Don't keep me from the Swift.
Not my Swift.
Hey, I'll tell you, that's what needs to happen, and to get these people to understand, all these kids, is like, do you guys realize that if you allow a CBDC, the central bank digital currency, to take over the U.S. dollar, you may not be able to travel across country to see Taylor Swift in some of the concerts.
Well, and
you want to see an outrage and an uproar?
Yeah, get those fucking people together, man. They're crazy.
Oh man,
they're crazy.
So yeah, so it's nuts. So anyway, now let's talk about the disadvantages, because we kind of shot down a lot of the advantages.
Yeah, they really seem like they seemed like that. I thought that was the disadvantage list that you were reading.
Oh no. Nay, it wasn't. This is actually the disadvantage list, which continues from the advantage list, which is really disadvantage.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so this is really potential for financial disintermediation. Okay, they can reduce the need for traditional financial intermediaries such as banks. Yeah. So all the banks are going to go out of business. They're already starting to go from the way it's happening, which they're doing and forcing. It's all a plan to have this stuff happen in this way. Like, well, we don't need them anyway because now we got the central bank digital currency, and you can still do your financial transactions this way, right? Which can lead to job losses and the reduction in the economic activity. Yeah, exactly.
You think?
Risk the bank runs on and system instability. All right, yeah, because people are going to go to the banks if this central, digital currency comes out. They're going to say, "Well, I'm taking all my money out of the bank," and then the banks will collapse, and it all will be a vicious circle. Perfect. That's exactly what we wanted. We wanted to collapse so we can push in the digital currency anyway. So we make the banks collapse.
They come in like Wonder Dog. Here I come to save the day.
Oh, it's just lovely. A need for infrastructure and technological investment. The implementation of CBDCs would require significant investment in technological infrastructure, which could be a significant burden for some countries. You think?
Yeah, well.
Vulnerability. Okay, so this is actually one of the biggest ones right here. Vulnerability to cyber attacks. And if you think that you're talking about vulnerability to cyber attacks from China,
from other countries,
or from other, you might want to look in the mirror and look at our own.
Yeah, you got to look at your own backyard first.
Yeah, look at our wonderful government and just say, as with any digital system, CBDCs could be vulnerable to cyber attacks and hacking attempts. You think? You think QR codes can be hacked? Target, Wells Fargo were hacked. People's information got leaked. your social security number, your bank account information. Now let's put everything on your iPhone, shall we?
Yeah.
Okay. So now you have your medical information, you have your driver's license, your digital driver's license. Everything has to be digital because, oh, wait, it's vulnerable to cyber attacks. Are you people starting to get the point here? Do you see a pattern?
Yeah.
Digital sucks.
Yeah.
For lots of things. It's really good for some things. I'll admit our computers are nice. But doing this shit all on your phone or all on whatever, it's horrible. Horrible idea.
Yeah. Well, to take it all and just rely on that. 100% is
eggs in one
mind
basket.
blowing. Yeah.
Didn't our parents give us the lesson like, don't put your eggs all in one basket? I wonder what that meant.
When one of the things my old man told me, and always kind of reminded me from when I first started working when I was 13, 14 years old or whatever, was
child labor laws, dude. I'm gonna have to.
Yeah, man, it was voluntary. They was paying us, half cash, half beer. It was, that's what it was.
13. Nice.
Hell yeah, man.
Surprised they did a little whiskey or something.
But it was always keep some cash in your pocket. Always. You know what I mean? You could deposit your check, but take
a little
out. You know what I mean? And when I got a little bit older, it was I'd take a little bit more out and a little bit more out and a little bit more out. And now I rarely have less than a couple $100 in my wallet, just because
you never know.
Just in case, you never know.
Yeah. Oh, exactly.
And if I don't use it, then I'll throw that into savings and then take another couple $100 out with the next check or whatever, you know what I mean? Or recycle a couple of them or whatever, you know what I mean? Depend on economic times. Fuck. I went and bought.
Tithe yourself your 10% of your own paycheck to yourself.
Yeah, you have to, because it's going.
Yep. I mean,
yeah, it's ridiculous. Now you got to save for a month for groceries.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. All right. So next one is possibility of breaching user privacy. Weird.
Surprised they put that on there.
Yeah, I know. And creating a surveillance state.
Oh.
Huh.
They must have had some naysayers on that panel, huh?
Interesting. Depending on the design of the CBD system, there is a risk of user privacy. Oh my God, there's a risk of user privacy? No shit. And they could be compromised.
Being compromised? Yeah.
And used for surveilling what you're doing each and every day.
Imagine.
Oh my God, I told you, you went to the liquor store way too many times this week.
We're going to deny any more transactions from the liquor store for the rest of the month.
Yeah, I think your car insurance is going to go up.
And we're going to raise your car's insurance.
Because, you could be driving drunk.
Mm-hmm.
There's no proof or evidence that you ever would or will, but you could. Therefore, we're gonna could that transaction and up those rates for you.
Just want to keep everyone safe.
That's right. Difficulty in implementing cross-border transactions. The adoption of the CBDCs could be hindered by the difficulty of implementing cross-border transactions. You know what? Too fucking bad. Deal with it. Go get your fucking currency exchange and do it like everybody else has done from time and eternity. That's the way to do it. Don't make it so convenient that all that could be hacked and you may not have anything in your account when you're trying to do a transaction across the border.
Well, the funny
get your hookers in Mexico.
Yeah, the funny thing is that nobody wants our exports. So what kind of transactions are we talking about? We're talking about trying to import goods and services. Yeah. Are we talking about you're a Mexican whore? Are we talking about
Who does that you're talking about? The donkey shows and shit like that.
Go down to TJ, man, and take my passport, which is digital now.
Have you seen Donkey Show down there, by the way?
I've heard of it. I've never seen it.
I've heard of them too.
It sounds like It sounds like it would be a lot of fun, but I'm sure that it would
You
not.
could never get that image out of your head.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. I
Yeah,
think it, I doubt it would be as fun as it sounds.
it doesn't sound fun. I've heard, from what I've heard, no, seriously, from what I have heard, you don't want to go there.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Let's see now. Possibility of exacerbating income inequality. Okay, there's no such thing as income equality. Okay, first of all, doctors get paid a lot more than janitors for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we can go into the whole $20 minimum wage thing that our oil slick Gavin Newsom was talking about, how that's destroyed many of these businesses that these people were hoping to make the $20 minimum hour with. But there's a thing called, try to work and better yourself and get a better job. This is not it's a minimum wage, not a living wage.
Mm-hmm.
And oh, but they need to be able to. Okay, calm the fuck down. There's certain jobs that just require less of a pay, less skill level, less whatever. And yeah, I mean, it's just, the possibility of exacerbating income inequality if they're not distributed equitably. Oh, God. They could exacerbate existing income inequality in society. And that's true. I mean, this is not going to help. Lack of physical cash as a backup. We just talked about that,
Just said that.
having it
Yeah.
in your pocket. Because, if you rely on the infrastructure, power grid goes down, the power goes out. Who knows? Oh, there it is. Power
Absolutely
outages,
fucked.
or
Yeah.
disruptions.
Power. Yep. There you go.
I don't want everything digital. I really don't. I like my analog watch when I do
Mhm.
wear a watch. I don't want a digital freaking. Nobody can read a watch, or nobody read a clock anymore. An analog clock where the hands go around.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's pretty sad that we have destroyed simple things like that for our kids.
Well, they're not even teaching in school right now. Like I taught my 11-year-old, and I'm teaching my 9-year-old now because
Yeah,
it's like because we have 2 or 3 on the wall, at
yeah,
the house,
yeah.
and I'm like, it's bedtime. It's like, well, what? How do you know? Like, I looked at the clock on the wall. Let's talk about this here. I
That
was
what
like,
that
oh,
is?
that's so
Oh,
confusing.
oh my god.
It's not fucking confusing.
Yeah, yeah. It's not a difficult concept once you figure it out.
Yeah.
So yeah, the lack of physical cash as a backup. That's so weird. Again, like we were talking about. Another con, including the 6 or 7 or almost 8, maybe almost 10 of the pros are all cons as well. Here's the other, the number 9 of the actual con list: difficulty implementing anti-money laundering and counterterrorism financing measures. Um, they're using these excuses to justify putting this shit in place so they can keep, and it's you think it's going to stop with people who money launder, the
Mm.
cartels, with the drug dealers, with terrorists funding each other, the sleeper cells and shit like that. I mean, it's the excuse. No, they're coming after Johnny Go Lucky, Johnny Go Lately, and Johnny Go Lucky. Yeah, watch out for him.
Well, yeah, laundering is going to be a little tougher
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
with the
Could be
centralized
more.
banking system,
Yeah.
digital currency.
Oh yeah. Could be more difficult to monitor and regulate than physical cash. It could be because you don't think you can hack the numbers. You don't think you can get in there and make a bank account go up and down easier. Could create challenges in preventing money laundering and terrorism financing. I mean, those are so few and far between. To put this on the list of reasons why to go digital and do this central bank thing, it's just unbelievable. The amount of people who are actually involved with terrorism and money laundering is so small, you can track it.
Well, they know who they are,
They
so
know who they are. Yeah.
yeah, so they're going to be the first to sign up.
And then here's the last one, which is what people need to understand. Then I'm going to get into a few videos of people talking about the same thing that we are just talking about, and this list is all about: the potential for central bank overreach. Do you think
Yeah.
would that be something that could possibly happen? Oh, you bet
Somebody
your
take
ass.
advantage of the
Yeah.
eons.
Yeah. And here it is. Depending on the design of the CBD system, funded by Microsoft, funded by Coca-Cola, funded by whoever, there's a risk that central banks could use their power to manipulate the economy and make decisions that are not in the best interest of society. Bing, ding, 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 ding.
I'm glad
Winner,
that's there.
winner, chicken dinner.
Yeah.
Right there.
I mean,
Unbelievable.
that really umbrellas the whole fucking
That should have been number
idea.
one.
Yeah, that should have been number one.
That should have been fucking number one right there. Unbelievable. And now I'm going to get to a different one. And let's play a couple videos of the people talking about this. There's not just one source telling you all of this shit. You're going to have other people kind of talking about this. And let's just start with sorry, let me find it. Let me start with this gal right here. I think she kind of helps sum up what we're talking about. It's just a YouTube short, so it'll go pretty quickly. And check this out and listen to what she has to say.
Something worse than a digital currency controlled by the government, which means surprisingly, a CBDC is not the worst thing in crypto. No, there's actually one thing that threatens our privacy and freedom more, and that is a multi-CBDC, or a currency controlled by multiple governments that share information with each other.
Ah! So not just the U.S., you could be screwed by other countries who talk to the U.S. and say, well, this guy did this, that, and the other, and he's a bad person, bad social credit score. Don't let him travel into your country. Detain him for a period of time, or charge him more, or make him pay an entry fee into the country. Who knows?
Oh yeah.
Could that be a possibility?
Oh, well, and where's the regulations on that?
Right.
So it's okay. So it's $50,000 for this person to get into the country,
right?
But it's only $10,000 for this person.
Well, because their crimes were a lot.
Or this person is just completely free. Just let them on in.
Right. Oh yeah. No,
that have done the same crimes. You know what I mean? It depends on the person.
Yeah. Well,
depends on how somebody's feeling that day. Depends on whose crypto or whose digital bank account is getting padded.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, it depends on whether you voted for Biden or Trump, for example. You know.
Let me explain. A currency controlled by the government is bad because it lets the government choose who can have financial power, and they can choose who to limit or block from using money. But a CBDC controlled by many governments is worse, because if one government does not like you, you have nowhere to go. The idea is something being processed in quite a few places. So we need ideas on what we can do to prevent a multi-CBDC. What possible ideas do you have? Comment your ideas and like and follow.
OMFG. Do you know what that means?
I do, and I'm a little sad that you used that.
Oh,
that was so 2015, bro.
So textual. Jesus. Multi CBDCs. So you could be blacklisted here because you went and bought too much alcohol this week, Rudy, and now you wanted to travel to France, see the Eiffel Tower you've never visited before, maybe, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And now France is talking to the U.S. or vice versa, and they're telling France, "Hey, you know, this guy bought a little too much alcohol lately. He goes to the liquor store, you know, twice a week. He probably needs to be checked on, and you might want to detain him or keep an eye on him, or not let him go to certain places and things like that, because, you know, heaven forbid, you know, he might get in trouble in your country. And if he drives, if he's got a rental car, he could crash it, kill people.
We've designated him as a potential risk.
Yeah.
So we need you to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And
how scary is that shit? For something as nebulous as you've gone to the liquor store 3 times this week or twice this month or whatever, and I deem that to be wrong. Therefore, I'm going to blacklist you on the CBDC with not just here, but every other country in the world who participates in this shit. All right, here's another guy talking about the on the speaker on the Congress House floor here, talking about more stuff as well.
The CBDC Anti-Surveillance State Act This bill is straightforward. It halts unelected bureaucrats from issuing a central bank digital currency, or CBDC. We believe that a central bank digital currency would be detrimental to Americans' rights to financial privacy. We've previously seen examples of the government and governments around the world weaponizing the financial system against their own citizens. For example, the Chinese Communist Party used a central bank digital currency to track spending habits of its citizens.
Did I say we're going to turn commie?
Social credit system.
Wait a minute. China's already been doing this?
Surprise,
Holy
surprise.
shit. Really? Oh, well, I'm sure that's just China. They wouldn't do that here, right?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Let's continue.
System that rewards or punishes people based on their behavior. This type of financial surveillance has no place in the United States.
You liquor store patronizing motherfucker. See, that's what I told you. Yeah, your behavior. And who deems that behavior as good or bad? And why are they able to do that?
Are you able to judge that and make that judgment for me?
Exactly.
After all, we have the Bill of Rights, and they do not. Concerningly, it appears that the current administration does not agree that financial surveillance has no place in the United States. In 2022, the White House issued an executive order pushing for CBDC research and development. The corresponding report and the data related to the executive order the president issued it does nothing to ease the concerns about financial snooping on citizens. This is why the CBDC Anti-Surveillance State Act is necessary. The bill requires all.
The sad part about this, Rude, is that we even have to put something like this in place and pass a bill for it. You've got to be effing kidding me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
wild. You've effing kidding me. But at least we're seeing that some of this shit is starting to go through, that people are starting to realize, wait a minute, we just may have open Pandora's box here.
Well, I'm glad there's people still in those higher positions that are recognizing this as or these kinds of things as dangers, you know what I mean? And they have no place in the United States.
Well, it's the potential abuse of it all, which is the thing that people need to realize is like, everything sounds so wonderful. Everything sounds so great and convenient and lovely, and it makes life so much easier for us all. But that's not the whole story. And the whole story is a lot more nefarious than people like to believe.
Well, if the people out there want an example, so I wanted to go into the military. Quick story, and then I think we need to take a little break.
One last little video, and then we'll wrap it up.
Quick story. I want to go to the military out of high school.
Yeah.
However, I got a TBI before I got in a car accident. Got a TBI. They wouldn't take me. Not a single fucking branch would take me.
Wow.
All right, so I get that. So I got pissed at the government, you know what I mean? And I read some things, and then I had uncles that were vets and stuff like that. I talked to them, and and we were all pissed off at the government at the same time, and all this. And one of the reoccurring statements was, don't go to the military because they own you. Yeah. They use you. They will put you wherever they want to. You don't have any say. You don't have any rights. You are their tool. Okay. So then 10 years later, my brother's coming, out of high school and is thinking about going to the Marine Corps. And it was scary as fuck. Right. I was like, Marine Corps. And this was just the height of Desert Storm was just getting started. And I'm like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
Like you're gonna go straight to fucking war. Nah, man. And that's what I kept telling him. I was like, you go into the military, and I had all this spill. They're gonna fucking own you, and they got your number. They could do whatever the fuck they want with you for however the fuck long, and blah blah blah. And then he gets out, and he's like, the shit that fucking sucked the most about military. He's like, I love the camaraderie, I love the brotherhood, I love the skills that I learned. He's like, but they fucking owned you, man.
Oh, that's so weird. It's almost like you'd said that to him before.
Well, the thing is, I mean,
Yeah,
he had to learn, you know what I mean?
right.
And
You got to learn, make your own mistakes. You gotta get it.
but at the same time, I commend those that go.
Yeah.
It was a fact that he was my baby brother that I didn't want him to go. I didn't want to get hurt. I didn't want him to get hurt. I
Yeah.
didn't want him to do this. But at the end of the day, I support his decision. You know what I mean? It's just, I'll give it to God. But at the same time, that's one of the biggest gripes that I hear from veterans that I know now that are, around my age or
Right.
in that age group. You know what I mean? These guys, especially the guys who came back from Desert Storm in Iraq, you know what I mean? And all that, and it was just kind of, I mean, that's the ongoing theme. But anyway, quick story.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really kind of to put that in a basket because then you give up ownership of yourself. You give up your rights.
Right.
You're giving up this, and you're not realizing it. You think it's
Right.
convenience, but you are giving up these rights. You are giving up the decisions to make on your own. You're giving the decision making up to them and saying, do with me
Yeah.
what you will.
Yeah. You're
Whatever
giving
you
them
want,
control over
however
you.
you want,
Yeah.
and your whole life and your whole livelihood. I mean, are you fucking kidding me?
And then they go off and we're supposed to be. My dad was in the Navy, and so I get it. He never wanted me to say, don't go in the military, blah blah blah, because he knew, it's like, I don't want you to get killed. You're my only son, yada yada yada, all that. I never did, but it's something where you're fighting for something that you don't really know what you're fighting about and for. And you don't know, I'm fighting this war for what? Is it oil? Will the U.S. get it? Is it control of the country so that we can get their resources for something later that you find?
They'll never give you the full story.
Give you the full story, so you're screwed. So here's this one last video that we'll talk about. It's just a quickie, and it'll talk about what we've just been mentioning, and that screenshot right there tells exactly what it is. Government fucking control.
I thought you were the guy in the fucking backwards hat.
Oh, well, that guy too.
He's got a great mustache. Got to give him that.
Yeah.
Central bank digital currency could be the ultimate surveillance tool. It's programmable by the central banks and the governments, and it can be used to control how people spend their money. The World Economic Forum are talking about introducing a carbon allowance to control the carbon footprint of each individual. Now, they could use CBDCs to control that. If you buy too much fuel or too many plane tickets, then you get a cap and they disable your spend. CBDCs can also be programmed to expire. So when there's a recession or times of economic turmoil, they can say that you've got to spend 10% of your savings by this date to boost the economy, to stimulate spending. And if you can't save your money, how can you build wealth? Money is life. You need cash to live. CBDCs could potentially be the next step to enslaving the mass population. Central bank digital currency could be the ultimate.
I think that's everything we were just talking about.
Yeah. I mean,
and it's good to hear it from somebody else too.
Yeah, we all wrapped up that whole point before we even got to it.
Yeah. And that's exactly right. I try to explain to people, okay, do you have your Starbucks app? You use all your stars yet? Are those expiring? And you got to use those. You got to go to Starbucks to get your next coffee, or you're going to lose those free stars they just gave you for buying all that coffee.
How much that matters to people is beyond me.
It's all Pavlovian responses.
I 1000% agree.
We are. It's like with our phones. Every time we get a text message, ding! Oh my God! Who just texted me? It's all that. Your stars are going to expire. Your bonus, whatever it is going to expire. We all do it. I've fallen victim to that all the time. I'm sure you have. I'm sure everybody out there has. But now put that on your bank account.
Yeah.
It's not just Starbucks you're buying. It's your bank account.
Could you imagine? And say you have your auto loan through that, or your mortgage is through that.
Yeah.
What then? You know what I mean?
Right.
You got 10 days to make your mortgage payment. We're looking at your account right now. You don't have the money. You got 10 days to come up with it. or we're going to foreclose on you.
And what
You
if,
know,
and what if you're people like us? We do design
exactly.
work. We're both designers. We both, advertising and design. And sometimes our clients don't pay us in a timely manner, and
Yeah.
we're floating.
Yeah, we're at the mercy of them. And like I said earlier, because I would venture to guess, especially this disappearing middle class,
Mhm.
because before COVID, I was comfortable middle class.
Yeah.
I really felt good about where I was at, and
Things
I
were humming,
don't
man. It was
mind
good.
being middle class, and
Yeah.
it was very comfortable.
Nothing wrong with being middle class.
Would even say maybe teetering on going upper, but that whole
Yeah.
thing got fucked up. But now this disappearing class, I would venture to say 95% of us are living paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
And we're teetering on, if we don't get that next fucking check, there's
Right.
going to be some issues.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's going to be some problems in the
And
house.
if the government or the banks or all of your debtors come after your money because they need to get paid in a timely manner, and you're just like, I'll get it to you. Give me just a week. I'm supposed to get paid. Yeah. I mean, it could really screw your financial system up.
Oh, it could
Now
fuck
all
it
of a
up
sudden,
completely.
you can't get your medications that you may need. You can't buy food because you got to pay this bill, and you're trying to, like, you know what?
You've
I'll make a
really
double payment next month, but this
Right.
month I can't pay
Right.
you.
And most debtors are okay with that. You know what I
Right.
mean? Especially like if you've done it once in the
Yeah.
past and
Yeah.
you've done it successfully. They'll be
Right.
like, "Hey man, a couple months ago I did a few months
Right.
ago I did a double
Or last
payment."
year or whatever.
Yeah, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And and most of them they're cool with that.
Yeah.
Because they look back, it's like, "Oh, yeah, you did it and you've
Yeah.
been on
You
time,
said you did what you were going to say you were going to do.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
did it. Yeah. Really
And
said that.
it's kind of a cool thing because you can work with
Yeah.
them right now. But if you willingly give up control
Yeah.
to a centralized banking system, you're fucked.
I
Because they're
don't.
not going to give a fuck about you.
Yeah. I
And
don't.
it's probably going to be all automated. And you're going
Yeah.
to have to talk to fucking robots.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. We all know how that automated chat goes, and the
fuck-
automated phone call.
Yeah,
Press
the
1
automated
for the press
chat.
2 for the yeah. No, I don't want and need the government or anybody or my bank or anybody to know or care, or my credit card company to know or care what I buy, when I buy it, how much I buy of something. It's none of their fucking business.
Right.
Right.
And that's kind of another thing too. It's like, my financial like status or whatever is nobody else's fucking business except mine
Yeah.
and my, who I owe money.
Yeah.
My debtors.
Yeah.
And that's it,
Yeah.
And
Well, like this guy was saying, it's like, oh, you bought too many plane tickets, therefore your carbon footprint tax. Now we're going to cut off your
can you
ability.
imagine that? Yeah.
I mean, do people understand the ramifications of this whole thing and how huge this could be in a negative way? And it's like, okay, none of your business that I've flown across country, or I've gone to Mexico to Cabo, or I've gone across to go to Europe, and that I happen to have this. None of your fucking business, and now you're going to cut off my bank account because you think I'm doing something you don't think I should do, but you're fine doing it. You traveling around the world in your private jet.
Yeah. Well, and who says that that's not part of my business? Like,
Right.
I'm not just traveling the world to travel the fucking world. I'm the only salesman for my business.
Right.
Because I had to cut everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Because you guys keep fucking freely taking my fucking money. So I have to go do this to keep my business in business.
Yeah.
And you're going to cut my fucking footprint? Or you're going to cap me?
I just
what
hope
the fuck,
I
man?
just hope people understand what we're trying to say here.
Yeah.
Is that will this happen? The chance of it going to this type of central bank digital currency is pretty great, unfortunately. The potential for it to go horribly, horribly wrong is also very great. I would hope that I would be wrong. I would hope that there will never be a chance of my account getting hacked by the government, or the government taking things out of my account like taxes or anything else, or me getting charged a higher interest rate because I bought an Apple computer instead of a Microsoft computer or things like that. Is the potential there? Hell, yes, it's there.
Well, if there's not regulations put in place and staunchly enforced, then like I said, man, I'll move to the mountains and use fucking food and goods as currency. Like I don't give a fuck. That's
you have to figure out how are you getting all that food. You're gonna go out and kill it all and something like that. You know, I mean,
well, that's when we know you grow it on the fucking property,
you
man.
grow it, you kill it, and you eat it.
And fucking
go
back to the old days, man. I mean, you've hunted before, you fished before, you know how to fucking do this shit. I worked in a garden before. We could do that shit. I mean, it's not, you know, rocket science.
We don't need a central facility, a central bank, a central anything to run anything. Eggs in one basket. You can't do it.
You can't do it.
It just you're putting control in the hands of people you have no idea. This is why the World Health Organization and the World Economic Forum are horribly nefarious people. These are not elected people. You can't get rid of them. You can't vote them out. Yet they're going to tell you what you can and can't do. They are a quote unquote self-governing entity, that they're the ones deciding what we are doing, and it's all controlled through them. Why do these people want to do this? You have to ask yourself this question.
Well, you know, and another thing is, you know, I don't mean to bring this up, but at the same time, you have your different sections of different people and what they like to do. You know what I mean? We have a whole month.
It's coming up
today, tomorrow. Tomorrow. All of our rainbow flag wearing friends and waving friends are. You don't think they're going to be affected?
Right.
And you know, when this entity decides that they have the right ideas and the right answers about the issues, abortion, gay and lesbian marriage, you know, again, where you're going to spend your money, who you can spend your money with, what businesses you can use and what businesses you can't. And that goes for everybody. What kind of vehicle you can buy, what brand of vehicle you can buy. And then I think that whole thing is going to get tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter until we're all wearing jumpsuits like the fucking Hunger Games.
Yeah.
And everybody's lost their identity.
Yep.
Everybody's just whittled down to a number and that chip in your fucking wrist. Like, do you not see the progression of that? You know what I mean? And if you don't, please think about it and walk that line and go down those roads and see how quickly it can get that way.
Yeah.
I mean, shit, it could be that way in a fucking week.
Oh, yeah.
If we let that happen.
Just do an exercise.
Without being regulated and staunchly regulated.
Just do an exercise. And this exercise is take something that's good and convenient that you like in your life, and now figure out how many different ways it can be used against other people for your benefit. Or how can that be used against you and all of that? I mean, if you're not thinking about the downside of this, then you're not really thinking.
Well, you have to.
You got to be real with.
You always have to contemplate the ifs. You know what I mean? You're right. You have to be real.
You got to question everything. Mm-hmm. Everything. So anyway, probably enough about the CBDC. The big thing is we're trying to say is stop. We don't want government being in control of our money and what we can and can't do with it and where we can and can't go, because some nebulous behind the scenes, no face person, unelected and unaccountable for their actions, is telling you what you can and can't do in your life. That is not why America was founded. We were founded to be free, to be able to do what we want, travel where we want, and do anything legally and within the bounds of not hurting anybody else.
Making our own decisions about what we want to do. We can do illegal shit if we want to, but it's our decision.
Consequences for those actions as well.
You'll get the consequences, but you're free to fucking do it.
Right. And we're also free to say whatever the fuck we want.
Right.
That's one last thing. It's a little slide off topic, but that's one thing I can't stand about the shit that's been going on lately in this cancel culture and this, you can't say this, can't say that, you know. I'm sorry, I can say that. That's what the whole point is about. It's not speech that agrees with your little world of, oh, this is
Your
okay to
narrative.
do. And yeah, if I want to call somebody retarded, I'm going to call somebody retarded. If I'm going to call somebody an asshole, then I can say that. If I want to say something else that's offensive, I have the right to. Just because I have the right to doesn't mean I should, but I do have that right to be able to say it. And I will also stand up for your rights to say what you would like. Obviously, you need to be responsible. You don't have the right to threaten anybody. You don't have the right to, you know, do shit like that. You know, call for the death of somebody, you know, or whatever. But for the most part, you can talk about anybody and say anything you want. You can tell a cop to fuck off, that he needs to, you know, go to hell. If he's a bad cop, obviously, or something like that. But this shit of not being able to call somebody a name or call them something that's might be offensive to you, but what might be offensive to you may not be to somebody else. So we must be very careful of the roads we're going down in protecting everybody and making life easier and more convenient and nicer and all this stuff and rainbows and fairy tales. Because when it comes to all this shit, when it comes to vaccines, mandating that shit, and central bank digital currency where all your shit's under control, taking away our right to say shit on YouTube or any other platform without being canceled or, you know, having your channel blocked or whatever. I mean, this is a very dangerous road we're going down. If we don't stop this shit, you can't complain or criticize the occupant of the White House, no matter who it is.
Right. And the problem is and I guess what people don't think about is that you don't get an undo.
Yeah.
They're not going to undo it. Once you give them the
Exactly.
power to do it, it's not you can't go back and say, whoa, man, I don't really like where this is. I don't like where this is going. Can we just kind of go back to the old way? Fuck no.
It's like adding a tax. Oh, it's a temporary tax. Bullshit. It's never a temporary tax. It's always there. How many taxes that were temporary do you know that were removed after the time period that they were in place?
Zero.
You know, and now we're doing a 0.5% tax for the NHL here in Utah with Ryan Smith and the Smith Entertainment Group.
That shit. Fuck off.
We're going to raise the sales tax in Salt Lake County 0.5% more. And that's supposed to be on for what, 30 years? Well, hopefully we'll still be alive in 30 years. But that tax will never go away because in 30 years, people are going to forget that. Oh, yeah, I forgot that was in place.
You know, and are you going to get that? Are you going to get that back at the end of the year?
No. Nope.
Fucking sad, man.
Yeah. So central bank digital currency is tied to all of this stuff. It all goes together. It's somebody saying, how good of a person are you in our eyes around the world? Are you not traveling, so you're not putting a carbon footprint? Are you not going to the liquor store or McDonald's and Burger Kings and things like that? Are you voting for the wrong? Are you saying the wrong thing on social media? And now you're going to get a higher interest rate on your car insurance.
Right.
In addition to going to the liquor store.
Yeah, they listen to me on social media. It's like having a few beers. Like, I'm at home, man. I'm not even fucking driving.
How many people were blacklisted for saying shit against fucking Fauci, that piece of shit trash bag, dumpster fire that he is? About all of that, you couldn't say anything about the vaccine, about COVID-19. You couldn't even say COVID-19. You couldn't even say vaccine. You couldn't even say this, that, and the other. Oh my God, what kind of world are we living in where we can't discuss this shit, disagree on it, and still walk away as friends and go have a beer together?
Well, because they didn't want anybody to get any other opinion than the narrative opinion that they were forcing down everyone's fucking throat. And the scare tactic, the scare tactic they were giving everybody.
Yeah.
Like, that's why.
Yeah.
That's exactly why.
HCQ, all the shit. You can't
Yeah,
make
no.
fluvoxamine. You can't make money on it. It's already.
Well, they were hushing and canceling doctors and even threatening their lives.
Yeah.
That when other doctors were standing up and say, "This is bullshit.
Yeah.
There is no way that this is happening. And if this is happening, then this is going to cure it. You're going to be fine with this. Come and take this." And this is even after the fucking shots. You know what I mean? And people were just getting the palpitations. And what's a sad thing is, I was listening to Dr. Mike the other day, and they were talking about COVID a little bit, and they were talking about the shedding, dude. And it's apparently the sad thing is I had a couple friends that were first responders, right? And so they were forced to get the jab. I think they were kind of already going down the road of getting the jab anyway, because they fell in, they bought it. You know what I mean? They bought the scare tactic.
Everybody's saying we should.
Right. But at the same time, they were working at hospitals, you know what I mean? And care facilities. And they were forced to. Their administration said, "Look, you either take it
or you don't have a job,
or you're out." And these are people making, $80,000-$100,000 a year. Good positions, long-term positions, a lot of tenure, you know what I mean? Worked hard with degrees, and so they're, it was basically, okay, taking it and being around those people. I swear, I said, you know what? I don't know what the fuck it is, but every time that I'm around you or I'm close to you, and I'm a hugger. Like when I see people, I see friends, family, loved ones, whatever. I hug. I'm a hugger.
Me too.
So
me too.
I hug these people, and then right away, I just start kind of feeling fluish. You know what I mean?
Feel a little ooky.
Yeah, a little fluish. My like no bullshit. Like my joints would start to ache a little bit, and like it kind of get a weird feeling in my stomach. Like, man, I don't know what this is, And it just seemed like every time I was around those people, and then I kind of did some R&D, you know what I mean, with them, you know what I mean, and every single fucking time it was happening, and then I just I just kind of slowly faded away, and I still talk to them, over text and email and phone and all that, and then keep in touch, but I haven't been around them. But I hear, and I feel, well, other than what I got, but at the same time, I haven't felt the shedding. And the thing is the close people in my circles, nobody got the jab. Nobody. You know what I mean? And that's, so I don't get that from any of my really close friends and family. Now what I heard though, what they were talking about is the shedding was getting worse. And I'm not around any. Yeah, like I'm not around anybody who has taken the jab, especially the 3rd and 4th rounds or whatever the fuck it was. I don't know how many rounds they were trying to the boosters that they were trying to force on everybody. But
we should tell you, it's not a fucking vaccine if you're getting a booster every couple months, you people. Wake up.
No shit. And so I'm interested to see if the shedding is getting worse, and just kind of go test it out and see, to go purposely be around somebody who's gotten the jab and the boosters and see kind of what the shedding feels like, because apparently it's getting fucking worse.
Well, we'll have to do a dive into that in one of these episodes as well.
I would love to do a dive in that.
Yeah, because I think this is not going away. It's always going to be there, and I think people need to remember. If they don't remember what happened, remember the Alamo, remember COVID. We will repeat the same shit. Those who forget history are doomed to repeat it. So we need to keep this up, keep this going. That's why we're kind of talking about some of this stuff, and not everything we talk about is pertains to today or yesterday, or events, current events that are just hitting. It's events that have happened that continue to go on. There's an issue. If the problem ended, we wouldn't really need to worry about talking about it a whole lot. But if it doesn't end, or if it ends but then it could be repeated, it must be remembered.
Yeah. And the stuff that me and Barn talk about are it's not light and fluffy. I mean, we always have good
Just lucky
conversations,
them.
and we've always had good conversations about this stuff, and
Yeah.
we've been able to disagree about some stuff that that we both had different opinions on. We share the same opinion on a lot of things, but at the same time, there's some things that we differ on, and I think we all need to get to that point to where we can disagree amicably. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And then take
This
each
is what we
other's
did
point.
from time and eternity before this.
Yeah, what's so fucking hard about that?
Yeah. I
It's
don't know.
not one way or no way
Right.
here, and especially nowadays. You know what I mean, with the climate that we're in. It's
Right.
just you can't be, and you
Yeah.
can't allow yourself to be that close fucking minded because you're gonna miss the fucking boat, man.
Yeah. Oh
You
yeah.
know?
Oh yeah. So, well, to end this right now, we want to make sure everybody kind of goes to our shop at etsy.com/shop/the Rude Barn. We've got some shirts and other items, mugs and hats. Not hats yet, but we'll have a bunch of different things in there. Just different things. Go check that out. We'd love to always add more items up there so we can have fun with that. We'll be wearing some of our apparel. This is not one of them. It's something else we had, but we'll have some other stuff up there. That'll help us be able to do more of these podcasts as well. We also are lucky to be involved with the Bearded Viking Meadery, making
Yes, sir.
mead. What's that?
I said yes, sir.
Yeah, and get
Coming up
things.
Coming
Yeah,
up on Father's Day, you can
yeah.
grab your Father's Day 4-pack
There you go.
from the website
Back, baby. Take her out on the golf course.
beardedviking.com.
Go golfing with it.
We are we can deliver to 42 states, I believe.
Nice.
Unfortunately, Utah is not one of them. However, you can get it close and you can drive. I think
So
you
those
can get
other
it.
10 states are screwed.
Yeah,
What?
no kidding. It's wild.
Yeah. Well, isn't that according to Obama, right? I think there are 10 more states. But anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, exactly. So we're grateful to be involved with them, and we'll be working with a lot more people. We're doing some fun interviews soon. When I say fun, I mean they're kind of serious. There's some people who have some insider information who are involved with a lot of places. A good buddy of mine is in counter intel. Worked with a former CIA guy. They were in the CIA at the time. Doing some things. We'll talk about all of that, and he wants to come on and help do the shows. We're going to have some interviews on that as well, plus some other folks as we get going and all of that. So we appreciate everybody listening, and hopefully it's not too drawn out for you. We try to make it a little more entertaining than we can, but just get the information out there so you understand the shit that's out there and know what's kind of going on, because a lot of people are just head in the sand, do my own thing. I don't want to worry about all this crap. I watch the news, CNN, NBC, all the ABC, CBS, NBC, all that crap. And they're being propagandized. Even with Fox people, it's everything. You got to get all alternate sources. And once you finally get a little bit of agreement across the board on all this stuff, maybe there's something there that you can say, okay, I think that's a legit article and story.
Well, and after you listen to us, I encourage you to go look deeper. Look deeper at the things we're talking about, and you'll see. Look deeper than Fox News and CNN and MSNBC. Look deeper and see what you can find, and actually read, and then read up to what led up to it. Do your own research. I encourage you to do that.
We're not always right on everything, but we try to, and if we aren't, please comment, let us know.
And we don't have all the
like
answers.
And subscribe.
Yeah, like and subscribe. We don't have all the answers. Sometimes we don't even have all the details, but at the same time, you know what I mean? It's a good conversation starter, and it's a good information search starter. So so we appreciate everybody listening and your support.
Yep.
And should we shut down for today?
Yeah, let's shut it down, baby. Let's do it.
All right, brother.
Thanks for sticking with us, and we'll see you all next time.
Happy weekend.
You too.
Cut
that bitch.
Cut my life into pieces.